6 months, I couldn't sleep. And this is how I met Tyler Durden.
With your feet.
Welcome to Fight Club. All been raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie gods and rock stars. But we won't. We're the middle children of history, man. We're very, very pissed off.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Salty Popcorn. What's up, Silly?
Hello, everybody.
How y'all doing? So, you know what? I think, Saliya, you have a bone to pick with me, right? Because I picked this week's episode movie, which is Fight Club 1999 by David Fincher. And do you have so much of bone with me that you kind of want to fight me?
I was like, why?
Why
did you do this to me?
Well, sorry to tell you.
What did I do you wrong that I have to be punished to watch this movie?
Oh, well, you know what? It's part of every film critic and reviewer. You got to watch movies that you like, some movies you love, and some movies on the other side of the spectrum. So this 1999 thriller by David Fincher came out in November 12th, 1999, and it features Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, and what's her name now? Miss Bowen Carter. So this talks about a white collar narrator who essentially meets a soap salesperson by the way of Brad Pitt, and they essentially build up a social networking of people that essentially leads into something even more disastrous, we'll say. So spoiler warning to those who've not yet seen a movie, but it has come out over 2 decades ago. So if you've not heard of it, I'd be very surprised. And if you've not seen it, I'll be a little less surprised, but it's still very surprised. So for me, I watched it many years ago for the first time, like probably in like 2010, sometime like that. And you know what? It's true what they say.
Why did you watch it? Why did you watch it? What happened?
Why did I watch it in like 2010? I think I was in university at the time, and you know, there are often times when people start quoting movies or like yeah. Or even like, you know, during university there used to be like a poster sale that was set up in like common area saying, okay, you can buy movie posters, motivational posters, and there was always one about like the rules of Fight Club, and I kept thinking, what is this Fight Club? What is this Fight Club? And let me tell you about Fight Club. Oh wait, I can't tell you about Fight Club. So for those who are not in the know, it's essentially an underground group of people fighting each other, and the rules of Fight Club are number 1 rule, don't talk about Fight Club. Number 2 rule, don't talk about Fight Club. And you know, it's by invitation only kind of thing. So I'm not sure if I could have persisted the way that Edward Norton's character did, to meet up with some strange person and just say, hey, let's be unruly. But I don't know. How about you? Would you think you could have find yourself initiated into that Fight Club? And if you were, would you have lasted, or would you checked out?
I wouldn't even get close to it.
You wouldn't even get close to it. Well, for me, I think the plot was interesting, because for the way it was delivered, like there's a big plot twist. If people don't know this about, David Fincher, he likes to add a little something at the end to make you think, oh wait, I need to rewatch this movie, or see what I missed the first time. And the plot twist, I already said spoiler alert, is that Tyler Durden is a making of the psyche of Edward Norton's nameless character. So it's essentially like almost an super ego. It's id and ego kind of thing. So how you have 3 layers of 3 different kind of monkeys, one that's all pleasure, one that's the very serious and logical person, and then there's a middle person. So I guess for me, the id, which is Tyler Durden, the sales salesman, who is more rough around the edges and free for all, fuck it kind of mentality. He's the id, and whereas Edward Norton's the ego, but eventually kind of merges into one. The acting, what do you think about the acting? For me, I'll let Saliya tell us about her experience and what she thought about the acting. Go on then.
The acting, I guess the acting was good, was pretty good. What I like, to be honest, I didn't like the movie at all. But the only thing that for me it worked was my conception of this movie was, because they were like the same, like that was him, it wasn't like someone like outside. So for me it was this struggle. I don't know if you're like that or not, but when I used to be a kid, like maybe like 4 or 5 years old, I used to talk to myself. I had another me inside me, that everything that I had a feeling that we are two. So then we have to really like, it's so funny. So everything that I had to like first like every decision that I wanted to make, I had to just talk to myself, like to another. It was like, so for me, it reminded me of like, because he was also struggling with himself, with another him. So I guess in life, so when we get older, probably we lose this inner child. But sometimes I have a feeling it's good to have it, because sometimes you need to feel like that you're talking to someone else, or someone from outside gives you an advice. So sometimes even now when I start to go back at it and talk, so like I wake up in the morning and I say, for example, I do something and then I'll say, okay, didn't you know that you decided not to do it? So why you're doing that? And it really worked. It really works for me. And because you have a feeling that someone like another you that is more like discipline, for example, in my case, is telling you why you are being lazy today. Weren't you supposed to do this? So I had a feeling this movie was like 2 personality. So one was more like, as you said, the ego. So always like trying. And the other one is like, no, like I had a feeling it was like a good part of someone and bad part of someone, that we are always struggling sometimes to be an asshole and sometimes be a good person. So for me, the only thing, it was this part of like psychological thing that really, I really felt that. So that's it. That's the thing.
Yeah. I love it. So you're talking about duality, so like the angel and the hell, the devil character on your shoulders.
All that.
Yeah. So, and then also I think you kind of touched on, it's confirmation of self and, reiterating, speaking into existence what you think is good for you. I think also this is quite different from I guess, no, I know it's quite different from like people that suffer from multiple personalities or dissociative disorder kind of thing. So, which to me is kind of what that kind of was trying to say, is that at some period of time when Edward Norton was unconscious, that's when Tyler Durden was doing his stuff, right? So it's the parts in which they were both conscious and interacting with each other. I guess that's where you have these internal discussions and discoveries kind of thing. But I think for the common Joe, if you have a quote unquote conscious that, you know, keeps making sure that you're aware of the actions you're taking, you kind of prompt it, make sure that it tells you, Saliya, are you sure you want to touch this hot stove? And you're like, no, maybe not. But thankfully, in your example, you did not use Saliya in the third person. So that is usually the startings of like, you know, this person's very narcissistic if they consider themselves to be a character in their own movie. So anyway, so I think for me, I also discovered amongst the many years of watching these movies and things like that, is oftentimes there's subliminal messages. So do you remember that one part where they talked about Tyler Durden went into cinemas and kind of putting little like sex scenes in between movies, and people may or may not notice? Do you remember seeing that?
The sex scene.
A sexual scene.
Sexual
Like,
scene.
Yeah.
The one that when he was with the girl.
Not there. No. So there was a part where Tyler Durden, Brad Pitt, goes into movies, into movie theaters, and cuts up the reels of movies and puts in subliminal messages. Do you remember that?
Not clearly.
Okay. So anyway, so
But
what
is about something.
So essentially what has also happened to us, and David Fincher is very meta, is that there are actually 6 points in the movie of Fight Club where Tyler Durden's character just flashes on the screen for like half a second. So we also get that too. So I find that to be quite funny too, because it also starts prepping us and let us know that, you know, Tyler Durden's not a real person, but however, that's what happened. And then I think ultimately at the end of the movie, what it also tries to help us, or the purpose of that underground group, was to get rid of national debt kind of thing. And there are many movies that have kind of done it before, like Live Free, Die Hard, or what's the one that popped up in my head? Or maybe it's just that one. But I think trying to create disorder and through chaos and through, you know, getting rid of credit histories and things like that, it's good in theory. But guys, I've actually spoken to an economist, and they actually said, like, this is how the human society will actually start to crumble. Like, yes, it's good to forget debts and things like that, but the circulation of money needs to happen somehow. Maybe that's him or her. I won't disclose their name. Maybe that's how he feels, just because he's in a white collar kind of situation, but people that are in blue collar might feel different than that. So, but you know, the 1%ers would more times than not win. And funny enough, I actually read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he kind of says that rich people win only because they know the system and they know how to use the system to their advantage. So even with credit history kind of thing, they just educate themselves on different loopholes and things like that. And this is how the 1%ers separate themselves from the rest of the herd. But yeah, so back to Fight Club. So what is one good thing and one bad thing that you liked about the movie? And you cannot generalize it and say it's all bad, because let's be honest, like Fight Club did so well
already told you
commercially.
what was good.
Huh?
I already told you what was good.
Okay, so which what? Just the understanding of the human psyche?
Yeah, I guess like different personality that we have inside, and we like that they are like 24 hours like struggling. Because like we all have like we have all this noise in our head. I mean, at least me, like since we wake up, so it's like always like hear something talking. Sometimes I'm like, shut up, like, you know, I have a feeling that something is talking in my brain 24 hours. So you have to just, so I had a feeling for me, that was what was happening, you know, because there was like a scene that he was just saying to him, don't talk, like just leave me alone, can you? And then he just, you know, like he kept like trying to you know, like affect him to do something wrong. And another okay, so and like another scene that I really like, when there was one part that they said, why do you have to ruin like the whole, like exactly like a credit like company? And they said because then like everything would be like destroy all the credits stuff, so everything start from the zero, so no one has debt anymore. So I like that part that they said. That's why they had to like ruin everything. And I think it's also like about like a new modern world that like things look way like simple, but on the other hand, everything is like consumption. So like people are consuming. So like it always like tells you to go buy this, buy that, do this, do that. So it's like a vicious circle, and at the end, you know, that's everyone like go under debt. And so that was like, I mean, but I think like it wasn't. And another thing that I really liked when when he was at the police office and all the people, the officer, they at the end he figured out they were the same team. So imagine like, how like the whole group, the whole troop, like expanding all over. So like in every city, that even from the police officer,
every
they
level
came to come off, you know, his people. And that was, for me, it was a kind of crazy, because I think, and that's true, because at the end, like we are the same people that we get some responsibility for to do this and to be, you know, at the higher position. But at the end, like things can change. So I don't know. I think it was a kind of very, I think it had like a political aspect, economy aspect, and also psychological.
Yes, and I think this is also something that a few people have, the continuous debate that people have about Fight Club, because some people even say Fight Club is a euphemism or a metaphor for drug abuse. Some say for male toxic behavior kind of thing. So, but yeah, definitely levels of psyche, educational element. So David Fincher it's deep. So, and funny enough, this is actually based on a book that was written by Chuck Palahniuk, and it came out in 1996, so 3 years before the movie came out. And so really, we can't give David Fincher all the credit, but it did pretty well when it did come out, because it asked us a lot of questions at the time. And as you know, it was actually nominated for best sound editing, but lost out to The Matrix that year. So I guess for that period of time, it was prompting us to do a lot of thinking. And David Fincher's continuously comes out with more thrillers and more thought-provoking films, which is what kind of led us to this movie selection because we did Gone Girl last week, right? So another David Fincher head scratcher is this one. But yeah, and then for me, one thing that I liked, I liked that it did actually like, it kind of blew my mind a little, the plot twist at the end, because I didn't see it coming. But I will give credit where credit's due. The fact that the fact that it was slowly developed, and the big reveal for me was like, you know, when Helena Bonham Carter, she was the one to really make the glue stick in my mind. I'm like, oh, okay, I get it now, you know. So the acting was really good in that element. Something I did not like, the movie's very dark. Like maybe this is the whole cinematography element, is that it kept using dark lighting, like green lights and things like that. So I found myself straining in trying to watch it, you know, because I kind of want to catch every detail, but there was a lot of shadow work done. But that was just me though. Maybe I'm different from most. So yeah, so
for no reason, too much blood for no reason. I'm serious. And it was, I mean, that wasn't necessary. I mean, if you are working on the psychological aspect, so why too much blood was in the movie? And on the other hand, that was too long.
Fight Club. It was Fight Club.
Yeah, but it wasn't fighting. And it was very long. This movie wasn't like ever finishing. I was like, what's going on? Like, I watched it in 3 days.
Oh yeah, you had to pause it and take a thinker.
I was like, oh, can't anymore. Tomorrow, rest.
Okay. Well, to me, I did it in one sitting, and it wasn't as bad. To me, it's not as long as The Irishman.
Did you watch it again from 2010?
Yeah. So it's not like The Irishman took me days to get through. So if you want me to put some, if you want me to put you some torture, let me give you that one, because it was a slow developing story, but eventually it gets somewhere. But anyways, so out of 10, I give that movie, because I liked it, you know, an 8 out of 10. And how about you, Slate?
So like out of like the last 3 movies that we gave review,
okay,
this is the highest rate for you.
Yes, exactly. So, and remember, I'm supposed to be the tough critic one. So yours, if mine is 8, yours supposed to be 10.
We definitely don't have the same taste when it comes to movie.
This is why we're great hosts for this show. Give different perspectives.
I would give 4.
4. Oh my gosh. Okay, so 4 out of 10. So that comes out to a 6 out of 10 collective average score for Salty Popcorn. So 6 out of 10. And guess what IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes gave it?
8.
IMDb 8.8 and Rotten Tomatoes 79%. So with the general critics or general public, they actually loved it. They side with Dami on this one. So
I mean, like, it depends what kind of movie you like. People that they like type of movies, like action, blood, killing each other, of course, that was their movie. But people that they are not, I told you, it gives me anxiety when I watch this type of movies.
Well,
so people like me that they can't really watch this type of movies. And
well, you talk about, you were the one that liked Gone Girl, and which was very violent. From
Gone Girl, it wasn't too much killing. Like, it was only one scene, and it was very short. That's it.
Yes, but
like there was it. That's what I'm saying. It was like all like psychology, but it wasn't like killing each other, fighting. There was like no. I didn't really feel bad when I was watching Gone Girl.
Okay, because you can relate to Gone Girl.
She kills the
Patrick Harris, his character.
Patrick Harris. It wasn't that bad. I mean, it was like one scene and that's it.
Well, that was a lot of blood. But anywho's, so I guess that's it for this episode. So for our listeners listening, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the video if you can.
Yeah.
And
Subscribe. We are starting. It gets better. Subscribe.
oh yeah, it gets better because, you know, Saliya is gonna start, you know, picking the movies and she's gonna introduce it. So
Yeah.
it gets better. So
For sure, for sure.
all right. Thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. We'll talk to you again and see you next week.
Bye.
All right. Bye.